It's been a while since Liberal Minister Miriam Monsef said anything stupid. You remember her, right? The 30-year-old millennial who had never had a real job before getting elected, and that was appointed to cabinet based on her gender, not her ability or experience. And remember how she once proudly tweeted that she was, quote, fascinated by Sharia? Or remember how spectacularly she failed in her only major file, electoral reform? I mean, who can forget this now classic back and forth with Jason Kenney in the House of Commons?
We want the ultimate consultation that allows tens of millions of Canadians to decide how they elect their representatives.
Yesterday, the first day that we brought forward the conversation on electoral reform, the hashtag electoral reform on Twitter alone garnered nearly 12 million impressions in one day. This is the 21st century way, and we will ensure that all voices who don't traditionally engage are included in this conversation.
Well, after the Liberals realized she was in way over her head and the Canadian public just was not interested in electoral reform, Monsef was removed from that cabinet post and reassigned to be the Minister of the Status of Women. Still not sure how her admiration and fascination with Sharia law fits into that file, but what we did learn this week is that Monsef wants you to complain about pro-life bus advertisements in her hometown of Peterborough, Ontario. According to this article in the Peterborough Examiner, Monsef is urging people to file formal complaints over these kinds of ads seen here with Advertising Standards Canada. Writing on her personal Facebook yesterday, Monsef stated, quote, "As someone who rode Peterborough Transit for much of my life, I would prefer to not see these ads in our public space. While the federal government cannot take actions to stop or mitigate these ads in their current configuration, anyone who is concerned may want to consider contacting Advertising Standards Canada, which is a national, not-for-profit, self-regulatory body for advertising in Canada." Unquote. Then Monsef goes on to give people a link as to where they can file their complaint. But what is with this apparent doublespeak here from Monsef? On one hand, the government can't remove these ads, but please complain and overwhelm Advertising Standards Canada so they feel pressured to remove these ads? Look, that's getting awful close to a Liberal cabinet minister advocating outright censorship, something that may have a place in Sharia law, but not in Canada, where we value freedom of expression. And it's not as if these ads are overly graphic either. There is no sensational images of dead fetuses, nor is there a major guilt trip tactic being employed here. These are fair and straightforward advertisements that simply oppose state-sanctioned murder of unborn babies. Perhaps now that she is the Minister for the Status of Women, Monsef feels that she needs to speak up on this issue. But what drives me, and more so pro-life women, completely crazy is this perception that women are overwhelmingly pro-choice and support abortion. But we know that's just not true. It's still around a 50-50 split right down the middle with women on this issue. Look, it's not close to a consensus. But the last thing that struck me about this story was the fact that right at the end of the Peterborough Examiner story on Monsef's complaint in her Facebook post, the reporter Joelle Kovac actually gives the reader a hyperlink right to the Advertising Standards Canada's complaint page, making it implied that the article and paper are supportive with Monsef and against these ads. As someone that is supposed to be a straight news reporter, I think it's pretty unethical for her to provide that avenue in the piece for the reader. Look, if the reader is so inclined to agree with Monsef, fine. Let them seek out the avenue of complaint on their own. For the Rebel.media, I'm Christopher Wilson. Thanks a lot for watching. If you didn't know already, we've launched a brand new YouTube channel called Rebel Canada. There you will find dedicated stories to Canadian and local political stories across our country. Please subscribe today if you haven't already.